What is up? Welcome to the NBA Rundown, brought to you courtesy of RunPure Sports and RunPure Bets. I'm your host, Spread Astaire, joined again by Tyler Hicks and AP. Got to pat ourselves on the back, fellas. We did a great job yesterday, and we are back to do it again today. AP, how excited are you to break down this Western Conference?
Yeah, I mean, the Western Conference looks pretty interesting. I think there's four clear-cut teams that are not going to make the playoffs. And then some interesting, decisions like this Lakers team, are they a play-in team? Could they possibly get to be like a 6 seed, 5 seed maybe? I mean, it's going to be really interesting to break it down and discuss with you guys.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I think yesterday there's a pretty clear delineation between the playoff teams and the non-playoff teams. Not so much in the West. I think 12 teams have a real shot for this 8 seed. Tyler, would you agree?
Yeah, I agree there. I mean, the only teams I think we can count out right now would be like the Spurs, the Jazz. I put your Kings down there, Spread, and OKC. Because I think Houston might surprise some people this year. I think some of those guys might make a giant leap.
And we'll get into the Kings, but I would just say the one advantage, and we talked about this yesterday, maybe if some teams start to tank. I mean, the Kings are so desperate to make the playoffs. That might be the only advantage. Maybe a team that we don't expect has a couple injuries, packs it in, and that could be the difference. But let's jump into the NBA odds. I'm going off Bovada. This is to win the Western Conference. The Houston Rockets are dead last at plus 100,000. Tyler, what are your thoughts on the Houston Rockets? I know two of our favorite young players there, second-year players, Alperen Şengün and Jalen Green. What do you expect for our guys?
Yeah, I mean, they're really young. Their team's going to take a few years to get good. But just like you said, I think Şengün, I think Jalen Green both take those steps this year. I think Green gets to that all-star level. I think he averages about 25 points a game. You can get that at even money right about now on DraftKings. So I like that bet.
What's the bet? Let me jump in there. Can you get to be an all-star if they only win 23 games?
Yes, if he averages 25 points a game.
Okay.
And he's on every ESPN highlight with those crazy dunks he does. So he could definitely be the all-star there.
Okay.
But I think they go over that 23.5. But me personally, I would rather see him go under spread, fall perfectly into that Wembanyama hype, and he ends up on that team. So I'm a little torn here, but if I had to bet it, I'm taking the over on them.
Yeah, I think the over might be a good look too. Only 23.5. Like I said, AP, these unders are a little more perilous this year, though. Teams might decide to pack it in. Jalen Green, a little knee soreness, right? See if that happens. But what do you expect from this team overall, and then also from a DFS perspective?
Yeah, so I have them missing the playoffs. I think, pretty easily there, low team total, etc. This team was 29th in defensive efficiency last year, 4th in pace. This is going to be a team that we can attack DFS-wise. And then keep an eye on the rotation early on in the season. I mean, Şengün, if he can stay out of foul trouble, he was a guy that he was a fantasy point per minute beast. But the problem was him staying out of foul trouble. So he actually led this team, their usage and fantasy point per minute rate. Not usage, but he led them in fantasy points per minute, average 1.11. KPJ was second, and he had the highest usage on this team. So it's a team that, man, where I think there's going to be some targets with the right matchups. I think Jalen Green, like Tyler mentioned, is going to be a guy that we can look at in tournaments. And this is going to be something I'm going to watch the rotations really closely early and often. I mean, if these starters are getting big minutes, they're going to be a team that we can go to. So while I'm not high on them overall, I am high on attacking them overall in DFS because they don't play defense. And then 2, you got guys like Şengün who are going to have slate breaking upside if they can stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah, I mean, real exciting from a DFS perspective. From a betting perspective as well, AP, overs. So this might be a team that we are targeting when you jump on Fridays. As you know, we love those Friday night overs. Tyler, any other props or anything we should be looking at for this Rockets team before we move on?
I mean, the other thing I would look at would be Jabari Smith at 7-1 to win Rookie of the Year. He had a terrible summer league. People jumped off of him. But then when you see him in the preseason, he looked really good. I think he could knock down a ton of threes. He could also average like 17 here and grab a bunch of boards, stretch that offense out. So I don't mind taking a shot at him at 7-1 to win Rookie of the Year.
All right. A team that has embraced the tank is the San Antonio Spurs. They are plus 60,000. Hey, they've had 2 number 1 picks go pretty right when they got David Robinson and Tim Duncan. Can they do it again? And is that what they're trying for this year? By all intents and purposes, it seems that way when they dealt DeJounte Murray for a bunch of draft picks. I think that's the right thing to do. And I'm wearing you can't see it, my little Kings shirt. But they just refuse to do that. But look at the Spurs. They've decided, hey, we're not in. We've got a guy who's all-star caliber. Let's get him to a winner. Let's develop these young guys. And they are going to be exciting to watch, even if the games aren't competitive. I like Devin Vassell. Keldon Johnson, I think, is poised for a breakout. And then last year's rookie, is that Trey Jones, Tyler? Was that the one that was drafted there out of North Carolina, going to get a little more run? So I don't think the Spurs are going to win a lot of games, but are they going to be interesting? Are they going to be fun to watch? What should we make of this team, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this team at all. I mean, they definitely got the call from Tony Parker, who owns the team that Wembanyama plays for. I think that was the first green light to get rid of DeJounte Murray. Then they make the trade. This team's in full tank mode. I would bet the under on their win total, but I'm probably just going to stay away at such a low number. And I'm not going to be watching many Spurs game this year. I mean, the only bright spot for them is probably going to be Keldon Johnson. The rest of these young guys, I mean, Vassell's all right, but the rest of them, I just don't see a lot of success coming out of them. The guy they drafted out of Baylor, though, Sohan, he could turn into like a Draymond Green player, but I think it'll take a few years.
All right. We'll see if he ends up punching Devin Vassell. What do you expect there, AP, from the San Antonio Spurs?
Yeah, I'm right in line there with Tyler. Just, on the DFS fronts, obviously DeJounte Murray was their leading usage and fantasy point per minute guy last season, 27% usage rate, 1.41 fantasy points per minute. So that's going to create a lot of opportunity for these other guys. And I'm with you both on Keldon Johnson. Looks to be a breakout campaign for him. My one worry with the Spurs, and this is always a worry, is the rotations here. It does look like a tank for Wembanyama type of team. I think we could see like a lot of Isaiah Roby in there breaking the rotations, and some of these guys just widen things out a little bit, trying to rack up those losses to position themselves for Wembanyama. So it's hard to get too excited about this team. DFS wise, man, it's Keldon Johnson. Actually, Jakob Poeltl was their second highest fantasy point per minute player when he was on the court last season. Might be due to, I think, down the stretch when he was getting some decent run there, but averaged 1.14 per minute. So he's gonna the thing about this is with key guys leaving, going elsewhere, it's going to free up opportunity for some of these other pieces. And in DFS formats, you just have to evaluate who is likely to benefit from that, and you have to weigh that into the matchup and their price and then projected minutes and all of that. And you got to get in before the curve. So another team that we should be looking at closely early on.
That's
not
exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I think the first 2 weeks are going to be undervalued because who knows besides Keldon, and Keldon will probably be appropriately priced, right?
Devin Vassell too. Vassell could be good. Yeah.
And you brought up Poeltl. I don't think he's going to be there by the All-Star break, right? I mean, he could probably help a team. So they could get even more into the weeds as far as this. Anything else from this team, AP? Yeah,
keep an eye on Josh Primo too. I think him and Trey Jones kind of going to be battling for that spot. He was a guy that looked kind of decent, so keep an eye on him as well.
All right, yeah, we'll be blazing through these tanking teams pretty quickly. And boy, the Oklahoma City Thunder, Tyler, they really bring up the question: did they get too many draft picks? Do you end up stunting these guys' development by just having so many? And they have like 7 coming up in the next couple of years. I mean, at a certain time, when do you flip the switch and actually go for it? Now, I don't think it's this year because we know how ridiculous this draft is. Even outside the top 2, it's really good. And then maybe the decision was made when Chet Holmgren went down. I mean, who could have seen that, right? But what do you think about the Oklahoma City Thunder? They seemed like they were going to be pretty cool, and I kind of liked them, but boy, losing Chet makes me think that they're just going to pack it in for another year. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I think this was the year they finally went for it. I think they're going to play SGA all year until Chet went out for the season. Now, just like you said, they have all these draft picks coming up. They probably don't use a lot of them. I think this is going to be their last swing at a top pick. And if they hit here spread, they're going to have two twin towers down low, SGA and Giddey to move the ball, and Lou Dort chasing around the best perimeter player. So, like, all of a sudden the team becomes pretty good. And then they have a decent bench. So they're young. And then what you do with the rest of those draft picks, if you do hit next year, you just package them for the next star that wants out. So they could be a team that's on the up and coming. I don't think it's this year. I think they're still in tank mode. So maybe play some SGA props early in the year, but then he probably gets shut down right around the All-Star break. And then we play Giddey's triple doubles a lot because he's going to rack up the stats.
And AP, the Thunder tank usually ends up making them DFS darlings as you're getting these guys straight from the G League that a lot of casual players don't know. How are you approaching this team? I'm kind of thinking the opposite of the Spurs, right? We stay away from them early on, and then we start loading them up on them the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's still kind of difficult. I mean, outside of Josh Giddey, who, yeah, I mean, this guy in one of the preseason games, I think he played just first half, and almost had a triple-double. This guy can ball. He's going to, if they play in minutes, him and Shea are going to keep this team competitive. You just wonder, like, man, look at the front court here with JRE, Darius Baisley. This team's going to be attackable in the paint. They really don't have any perimeter defenders. I mean, any rim protection down there in the paint. So, like, this is going to be a team where you can just pound bigs against them, I think. And then you do have some perimeter defenders in Lou Dort who can lock up a team's, number one. But, yeah, that, if they got, Wembanyama, that would be interesting. You got Chet and then him too. I mean, twin towers with Josh Giddey and Shea. I still think that team is like a bunch of skinny dudes that are maybe injury prone. And so, who knows? I'm not excited outside of, like, I'll watch this team just to watch Josh Giddey. I think he's a fun player to watch, but outside of that, I'm not that high on him. Like, it's hard to get excited about, watching Lou Dort miss threes and Darius Baisley also miss shots. So we'll see though. What about Jalen Williams there? I think he was the number 12 pick. Are you guys high on him?
Don't they have two
Yeah,
Jalen?
he has a lot of upside.
Do they have two? They have a Kenrick Williams and Jalen. They have a bunch of Williams. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they drafted both the Jalen Williams, but there were two Jalen Williams in that draft.
Yeah, one's both of them.
One's Aylin, and the other is the normal Jalen.
Oh, I'm sure that's not going to cause any confusion when you're building your lineups, right?
Right.
What do you think, Tyler? You watch more college than us. Do those guys have any high upside? Are we going to be targeting them?
Yeah, the Jalen that was drafted earlier, he's got a lot of upside. He could turn into a decent player. The other player they drafted, the foreign kid out of New Zealand, Usman Jang, he's like a 6'9" lanky point guard. He almost plays like Lonzo spread. He's good on defense. Like, that could be big, helping them on the perimeter defense. If that's another guard into that rotation, like, I think he's one of the better rookie picks they made this year. He might be the best one.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope they turn this around and stop tanking soon, because, I mean, at some point it's got to be disappointing for guys like SGA and Josh Giddey to be.
The other thing about that kid too, Spread, is he played in the NBL, and we talked about some of these guys coming over from these professional leagues into the NBA. They've hit the ground running these last couple of years. He could be one of those kids that steps right on the floor and picks up the game right off the bat.
And that's good knowledge. And what an indictment of our AAU system, that the best players continue to be players that are developed in different systems, whether it be in the European professional leagues and now the NBL emerging as a great place for these players to get their skills. So something to keep an eye on, even though it's a team that we are not excited about. Another team that we're not excited about, but Danny Ainge has done it again. Talk about stockpiling draft picks, right? Call him Presty Jr. over there. He gets rid of Rudy Gobert, gets a haul of draft picks. I wasn't too upset with Minnesota doing that. I said that I thought that Cleveland overpaid yesterday, but regardless, Utah's there ready to go. I'm kind of intrigued, though, because they get this guy, Kessler. He's coming back. And then, not coming back. He's a great draft pick. And then you get Colin Sexton coming back, who could be like a great value Donovan Mitchell or get even better. I think they're kind of an intriguing team, but yet at the same time, they've indicated that they don't want to win. What are your thoughts, Tyler?
Yeah, this team's going to stink spread. They might win like 15 games, and that's it. I mean, you just look at the guys they lost. Beverly's gone. Bogdanovich is gone. Gobert is gone. Daniel House is gone. Mitchell's gone. Royce O'Neal's gone. Pascal's gone. Like, all the guys that were in their rotation last year are pretty much gone here now. So
except
it's
for
like
Conley, but he's got to get moved,
and
right?
he's going to either get bought out or he's going to end up a Laker here soon, I think. So this team just has no reason to win. Ainge is in full tank mode. He wants one of these top guys to come in. And Sexton could be a nice bet early in the season on his points over because he's going to get a ton of shots. He's going to shoot the ball 19 to 20 times a game, maybe more with the guys that are going to be out there with him. But outside of his points prop spread, I'm staying away from this team. Like, even when they're catching like 12 points, I won't be on them.
Even with that built-in Utah home court advantage?
No, I can't. There's just there's no defense there. There's no scoring there outside of Sexton. Like, I just can't back them.
All right, AP, what are your thoughts on the Jazz?
Yeah, I mean, this team is gonna struggle. I think, one reason why is just like, man, you have all of these like individually, there are guys that can produce. Kelly Olynyk, he's proven, at least from a DFS standpoint, he can produce on a fantasy point per minute basis. Then you have Colin Sexton, who should be very motivated to prove, that like Cleveland got rid of him. Obviously, then Garland went off, and now they brought in Donnie Mitchell for him. So he's going to have like a chip on his shoulder. You got Lauri Markkanen, Jared Vanderbilt. Like, you got all these pieces coming in, Malik Beasley, like that have never really played together. So it's going to be chemistry issues. It's going to be a lot of different things. And I think defensively, you're going to see the Jazz go from, one of the better defensive teams out there. They were 10th in efficiency last season. I think they were probably top 5 the season before that. Now to maybe worst in the league. Like, they definitely could be 30th defensively at the end of the season. So what you have to do is you have to think, man, what are we going to see? If we're not going to see a lot of Mike Conley, a guy who will slow the game down a little bit, and maybe if we see more, like, I don't know, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I would like to see more him, Talon Horton-Tucker, guys that are going to play with some pace, push it. This is going to be a team DFS-wise that we can attack, or given the rotations, we could play some of these pieces if the price is right. Like a Kelly Olynyk's always been able to put up good numbers in these spots where, like, there's not a lot of there isn't a lot of chemistry there. Like, he went into Detroit and just kind of did his thing, and produced. So it's an interesting team I'm going to look at. Not excited about watching it at all, but there are going to be opportunities on a DFS side, either attacking them or playing a few of these pieces depending on the rotations.
All right, let's bring in another RunPure contributor, the man with a brand new tan, Kurt, joining us today. Kurt, is your video working here? Is this working here, or am I gonna have to try this again? Oh, there he goes. What's up, Kurt? How's that tan looking?
Looking good. What do you guys think?
Hey, yeah, looking swell there. Did you want to break down every team with us, Kurt, or are you gonna do a quick hit and bounce?
No, I'll stay on for a little bit. But this Jazz team. Okay, first of all, this is this year's OKC, right? I mean, because OKC is still gonna be OKC, but like for DFS, like there's some of these guys that are gonna we're gonna get value from this team all year. So I'm really excited for that. They're gonna be the worst team probably in the last 2 or 3 years, though. But
you think they're that bad?
Oh, they're gonna be so bad. I mean, because they're like first of all, the roster's terrible, and they're gonna it's kind of like what OKC did with Shea. Like, if someone started doing well, they're just gonna say, "Oh, he messed up his knee. He's got a sore ankle." I mean, they're going to try to lose, and the roster is the worst I've ever seen. But for DFS, there's some guys that I hope get, like, extended run because, sheesh. And they even got my EuroLeague boy, Simon Fontecchio. He chucks. Agbaji for DFS, I mean, eventually. But, woof, it's going to be so bad. Walker Kessler 5-block game will come. I forgot. I only heard AP's breakdown, but what did you guys say about this team?
Yeah, we all pretty much agree. And
this team ain't winning 15 games.
I would is a EuroLeague expert. He has been cashing with those cores over on runpuresports.com. If you're not a member and you do want to get some EuroLeague action, head on over to runpuresports.com, become a member, and jump in all the winning. Let's move to my favorite team here, Tyler, the Sacramento Kings. You said that you don't think they're going to be pretty good. I think the one advantage they have is that they're not going to tank, because why would they? That's the smart thing to do. And why do the Kings ever do a smart thing? You guys will hear me rant about this team all year long, so I just want to get your thoughts, and we'll save the rest of my Kings thoughts for our daily rundowns. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Kings spread. We talk about certain teams being cursed. I think your team's one of them. Like, they made a decent draft pick in Keegan Murray. I don't think they picked the right guy, though. I think they should have went a different route. They should have took Ivy. But Fox has looked good once they traded Halliburton. Can he stay healthy here? Sabonis, on the other hand, can't defend very well, but he's going to put up a ton of stats, grab you a bunch of rebounds, get you some offense going. So, I mean, I guess they could be in the play-in in the end of it, maybe get the 10 seed and lose that first game. But I don't think they're a top 8 team. Like, they're not making the playoffs this year.
Even the play-in would be an improvement. The only thing I'd say is it's a forward league. That's why I kind of remember softened on my stance, even though I was melting down over the Jaden Ivey pick right when it happened. But it is a forward league, and he has played well so far. So I'm fine with the pick. I'm just not fine with the decision to go for it.
The only problem, too, is like when you look at the standings from last year, Phoenix, Memphis, Golden State, Dallas, Denver, Minnesota, and New Orleans are all penciled in already to make the playoffs.
That's the main problem. Like, who dropped off?
So the Jazz fall out, and now everyone's fighting for the play-in games, and that leaves the Clippers, the Lakers, the Blazers, all to fight for 2 spots.
And I think
once you add
are better than us.
Yeah, when you add the Kings into it, the Kings are by far the worst of those 4.
Yeah.
I just don't see them getting there.
All right, AP, I'm down on this team from a betting perspective, from a fan perspective, but we are going to love them in DFS, right? This team scores, and they give up points. What are your thoughts on the Sacramento Kings, AP?
Yeah, I mean, the move they made getting rid of Buddy Hield and Tyrese Halliburton, to bring in Sabonis, and who's the other piece that they brought in? You guys
Justin Holiday, but he's on the Hawks now, right?
Yeah,
and Jeremy Lamb, I don't know where he ended up either. Yeah,
I guess if they do so, did they get picks or anything? I mean, I can't remember what the trade was, but it doesn't matter. Like, like De'Aaron Fox, like, I'm not confident. Like, this is going to be a great team to target in DFS. And the reason why is whenever you have De'Aaron Fox, really fast player, pushes the ball up the court. You have Sabonis, offensive powerhouse, but defensively, they're going to be terrible. 27th last year. I don't see them getting any better defensively. You have Kevin Huerter, a guy, he's an offensive guy. He can shoot. And then Harrison Barnes is going to keep doing what he does. Plays a ton of minutes, doesn't take up a lot usage-wise, plays some defense, hits a couple shots every now and then. He's going to be that same type of guy. I don't see it. We know what his game is. He's not going to, nothing's changing there. So it's like, I don't know. What do they expect? Like, what are they going to do different to get better? We know what Fox's ceiling is. We know what Sabonis's ceiling is. So again, this is going to be a great spot for DFS. Pace is going to be good. Hopefully we get tight rotations. I know De'Aaron Fox was playing heavy minutes. It'll be interesting to see Davion Mitchell, what they do, because now they got Malik Monk in there as well, and a few other pieces. So
and that's what I was going to say. When you're talking about the Kings fans that are drinking the Kool-Aid around here, right? They're saying, well, what are we going to do different? Well, you had a Keegan Murray who shot about 39% in college. Both Herter and Monk were around 39% as well. So the idea is you finally put some spacing besides Buddy Hield around this team. But let's be honest, I don't think it's going to be enough either. Kurt, do you have a reason for me to be optimistic about my favorite team, or are you going to continue to hit me with that hard dose of reality?
I think they're going to be more scrappy than the Jazz. I mean, they're going to be terrible.
Oh, yeah, they'll be better than the Jazz because they're going to try.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Davion's going to have some nights where he puts some guards in hell. I mean, because he's an elite. I mean, but it's team defense in the NBA really. So it's not like Davion. Davion can't make Kevin Huerter a good fucking defender,
and he can't make Sabonis a good rim blocker. And we talked about this yesterday with the Bulls and Vucevic. It's just like, if you can't protect the rim, you can't win in the NBA long term. That's my idea. Maybe he changes. Maybe he gets better.
Yeah, I feel bad because Davion's gonna have these guys on straps, and then one thing's gonna happen, they're gonna get to rim. It's there's no one there, so right. I'm sure it's gonna piss him off all year. But Keegan, I like Keegan come in the draft for Ivy, but I agree with Tyler. This Ivy looks cut. and he would have fit in like him and Davion Mitchell growing together. Woo, that would have been the elite backcourt. But Keegan's still going to be really good. No other takeaways from this team just besides what AP said. Just target the hell out of them because, I mean, them and the Jazz are going to be fighting for the worst defense for sure.
I'm glad we got you guys on here because I don't watch a ton of college ball, and I try not to form too many opinions on these rookies until they've really established themselves. So it's good having your guys' takes on here.
I was higher on Keegan coming out. I mean, but what I saw from Ivy in the Summer League, I knew what Ivy could – I mean, I knew he was capable of, but I was like, at the next level, like, we'll see what happens. And then I go to Summer League, and I know it's not much, but – I mean, even the preseason, this kid.
Yeah, he's going to be one of the best athletes on the floor.
And you guys needed an it player spread, like somebody that had it, and there it was for you, and you took the guy that was more of the
Keegan's going to be good,
finished product at the point. But he's just like a 3-and-D guy. Like, if he just turns into what Covington was when Covington was at his best, like, I think that's pretty much the best you're going to get out of him.
Okay, I remember this kid now. He played for Iowa. That's right.
Yeah, no, he was really good in college.
I watched a couple Big Ten games.
There we go.
That's about it.
Did you watch the Big Corn?
Big Corn. Oh, no, it was mainly to watch what's his name that played for Nebraska. We talked about him yesterday.
McGowan's.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby McGowan's?
Yeah, baby McGowan's.
He's good at shit too.
All right, just to give you an idea here, right? So this is the Western Conference winners. We just did the Kings at plus 30,000. Now the odds switch to plus 4,500. I mean, that's the gulf between these bottom 5 teams. And now these, we were kind of racing through these other guys. These are the teams that I'm more excited to talk about. Portland Trailblazers, we weren't sure what to make of your kid out of Kentucky, Shaden Sharp, but he's looked really good in preseason. Dame Lillard's back. They added Jeremy Grant. They have Josh Hart's on that team, right? He could be in that closing lineup. Still have Anthony Simons. This team is pretty good. But the West is really good. What do we make of the Blazers, Tyler?
Yeah, I think they're going to be similar to your Kings spread, but just a bit better. Like, they're going to put up a ton of points.
They have that guy.
Yeah, they're going to win the games. They might have 2 guys. Like, Shaden Sharp's looked really good. A lot of people were trying to pencil him in as the best player in that draft, even though he hadn't played. Damian Lillard gave the green light for them to draft him, so he's seen something in the kid. So, and then they also picked up Grant, like you said. Josh Hart's still there. They have some bodies to throw at teams. I think Simons also takes another step forward. That just gives them another guard in this rotation. They got 125 points per game written all over them as an offense, but they're going to give up 123 points per game on defense. So an over team, but I think they're definitely in that play-in spot. They're either going to be an 8 or a 9 seed. It just all depends on if they have to win that one game or win 2 games to get into the playoffs.
AP, what do you think of the Blazers?
Yeah, so like Jeremy Grant's the interesting piece here, I think, early on. So we saw with Denver, he was able to be that third man. He played really good, played good defense. He put his ego aside. Then when he went to Detroit, he wanted to be the number 1. We all learned he's not that guy. He just isn't. It's nothing against him. He's not that guy. So it really, I think it comes down to him. If he can really embrace his role and understand this is Dame Lillard's team, and if everyone can, this team is interesting, man. We saw Simons. He was a baller last year. He looked good. Mm-hmm. We know what Josh Hart is. He's a good player. He can score. He's a guy. He doesn't seem like he gets hurt much. So, and then Nurkic. I mean, if Nurkic can stay healthy too, like this team is I have them in the play-in section just because we have so many strong teams above them. But I think they're going to be a play-in team, maybe like a 7 or 8 seed, something like that. And I think this team has a lot of upside, and we'll see what Dame can do now with some of these other offensive pieces. And I agree with what Tyler said. Another team that from a fantasy standpoint is going to be really fun to target. Just like we talked yesterday, I'm just playing it through my mind. There's the East seems like they're going to play pretty slow. There's going to be a lot of tough defensive teams, a lot of tough things from a fantasy standpoint. Right out of the gate here, seems like we're going to be stacking a lot of these West games. So
those late night hammers, baby.
Yeah. You'll be in bed, Kurt. You'll be in bed snoozing, waking up to winners.
When I have the late, so I stack Portland all the time because I like playing Nurkic. I like playing Lillard when he's like under-owned. So I stay up for those games because I swear a lot of my sweats come from like Nurkic and Lillard. So I do make an exception, stay up for those. I just run on like 4 hours of sleep the next day at the gym and it suffers. But I mean, This sounds pathetic. I don't stay up for football games, but I will stay up for a Portland Trailblazers versus like the Kings. I'll stay up for that.
Another name we didn't bring up
fantastic.
that this team picked up was Gary Payton Jr. That's a good defensive glue guy that they can put on the floor with these guards. And he can go chase around the better offensive guy on the other side, letting Dame focus on more on offense.
I thought you were going to steal mine. I have another player that I want y'all to watch for.
Jump in there.
He's going to be like a 7th, 8th man, but Jabari Walker, guy out of Colorado, he can do everything. He can be a usage hog. He can have no usage and play all D, rebound, assist, blocks, everything. Jabari Walker is a name to watch. He'll probably rotate with Trendon Watford. Trendon Watford will play a lot, but like they'll be in and out. If Trendon Watford goes down, Jabari Walker will steal his spot. This guy can do everything. He can play the 4, 3, small ball, 5 even. Definitely need to watch for Jabari Walker if he gets some time.
I think
Gotta look
Portland
this
might be
guy
the
up.
team.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Yeah, from Colorado. His numbers at Colorado were insane, but he doesn't have to have that usage. Like he can be like he's very passive if he needs to be, which he will be if he's playing with like Dame and Simons.
I think Portland's got a great chance to be a team that's in the 5 through 8 range, but gets that first round upset. Because if things go right and Dame gets hot, I think they can compete with almost anybody. But I think these NBA odds are about right. They were plus 4,500. The Pelicans are plus 2,000. Tyler, you really like this team. I mean, it's a pretty easy breakdown on the preview, right? It comes down to Zion's health. If he's healthy, they have a chance to be a top 4 team. If not, I think they'll still compete. They looked pretty good last year. What do you expect from this team and your guy Zion, chiseled out of Duke?
Yeah, I mean, he looks good coming into this season spread. If he's going to play the whole season, that most improved at, I think it's sitting at around 18 to 1 right now. We got in at 25 to 1. This kid's going to run away with that award. He's going to average 30. He's going to shoot 60+%. He's going to be an all-star. He's going to dominate the floor. We've seen what Brandon Ingram can do when he's given the spotlight also. CJ McCollum's there to run the offense. They drafted Dyson Daniels, we talked about guys like Lonzo. This is another guy. He could dish the ball, defend the perimeter well. He played in the G League, so he's going to hit the ground running just like Jang in OKC. This team's going to be really good spread. They're a sneaky pick to win the West if everything goes right. Because if Zion's healthy, yes, they can. If Zion's healthy, like Brandon Ingram is your third guy. CJ McCollum running the show. Like this team's going to be a tough beat. Look what they did to Phoenix without Zion spread. If Zion's there, Phoenix is out in the first round last year.
Okay. I love it. That's what we came for. And we said we didn't want to just give, the same tanks to the consensus. And I'll tell you what, that's not where I'm at. So I'm glad that Tyler's going ahead and going out on a limb there and definitely giving us a hot one. AP, Tyler said this team can win the West. I'm a little skeptical. Where do you land?
Yeah, so yesterday, Tyler and I kind of disagreed early a little often. Today, that's not the case, so you love to see it. But I'm with them, man. Looking at Zion, and I don't watch a lot of preseason stuff. I like just to let it come to me, like usually the week before. Right now is when I get going. But man, looking at Zion, the narrative all last year was fat Zion, how out of shape he looked, and just think about it. Think through this. Young kid, okay? Real young, probably immature still. I mean, when I was that age, I was very, very young, very, very, very stupid. And just imagine, like, you took the Phoenix Suns down the stretch to, 7 games, right? And imagine, like, just like Tyler said, if he was there playing at the ability that he can play to, they would have won that series. I think maybe that is what he needed to see these other pieces, needed some more leadership in there, which now they have. I think, with CJ McCollum, I like this team. I think there's a ton of upside. I think, man, when you look at Zion, he looks jacked in some of these pictures I'm looking at. So like now we're looking at jacked Zion versus fat Zion. So now it comes down to how are they going to look out there on the court? You got Joe Val, you got Zion, you got Herb Jones, really elite defender. You got Brandon Ingram. You got CJ McCollum. So, like, from a DFS standpoint, we've talked a lot about, really good spots to target, good spots to play. This is going to be one of the worst spots to play for DFS. Who knows? Like, all of these guys are going to take away from each other. And so from a real basketball standpoint, that's great for them. That's great for them. From a fantasy standpoint, really bad. We don't want to go there. So I'm going to be avoiding attacking this team. I think they're going to be very good defensively. And I think they're going to be good overall. And then I'm going to also avoid playing them unless we have like injury news and stuff like that, where multiple pieces are out, because I just don't see any one guy like taking over and justify playing them in daily fantasy formats. So I'm really excited to watch this team, though. Hopefully they come motivated. Hopefully Zion does what he can do, which is be one of the most efficient scorers in the paint. So we'll see.
Kurt, Tyler thinks the combination of Zion Williamson and Herb Jones can win the West. Do you agree?
I'm going to make it a three-peat because I think this team is going to be – I mean, look, here's the thing. Think of a defensive core when they're out. I mean, Jose's not going to start, but Jose Alvarado, Zion Williamson, Herbert Jones. And then you got Brandon Ingram's long as hell, too. I mean, it's going to be like hell to score on these guys. Depending on how the coach gets them defensively minded, but this could be a absolutely murderer's row of defenders, man. I mean, obviously you got Jonas, who's not really going to defend much, but like he's not the worst.
But that's the thing right there, Kurt. You can't beat this team either way. Like you can't be like, oh, let me go big. They'll just put Zion and Joe on the floor together.
And
let me go small. Zion's just going to be the center.
Same thing with Herb. Like Herb can play three positions too. I mean, it's same thing with Ingram. It's. I mean, this team's going to be nice. One thing I do want to mention is oh shit, I lost my place. All right, never mind. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well,
Sorry.
Tyler, let me jump in real quick. I don't know if I'm with you on the full win the Western Conference idea. I just don't know if they have the veteran experience that you need to get that playoff win, especially.
That's where CJ McCollum comes in. He's played in Western Conference Finals. The young guys got a taste of the playoffs last year. So did the coach. The only guy that didn't was Zion. But if there's any guy in the NBA that could just step into a playoff game and just play it like nothing matters, it's the guy that's going to score all his points right at the rim.
Yeah.
Tyler, go ahead, AB.
Real quick question for the group. Do you think they could finish above the Memphis Grizzlies?
Yes.
We're not sure.
I think
unanimous yes, all across the board.
I think they are
expecting that. Okay.
If you put them on the floor both healthy, I think they beat Memphis in a 7-game series. I think they're a better team than them.
I had two things I forgot. One was this team can afford injuries here and there because, I mean, this team's deep as hell. Like, Dyson Daniels probably isn't going to see the floor, and he's the rookie they drafted it. But if they can afford injuries here and there, the only thing they can't have is the long injury to, like, McCollum, even Jose for defensive purposes. Zion, they can't have the injury where someone's out 3 or 4 months. If they have a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they're gonna be fine. They're deep as hell.
We seen injuries kill the playoffs last year. If this team's fully healthy going into the playoffs, I want everything to do with them. And
yesterday you talked about you can bet exact seeds. What's the number on them to get 2 or 3?
Here, I can pull that up for you in 1 second.
Because I mean, one, I'm with you on them being good, but one might be a little bit.
Another fun bet I seen. It's 50-1. They have an easy start to their schedule. Best record at the All-Star break for them is 50-1. I think they could definitely get that.
Yeah, they're healthy.
They hit the ground running. Like their young guys are hungry. They want to build on what they had last year. Zion's back. They just blow teams off the floor for a couple months, and they just run away with that.
That's a good bet.
All right, Tyler, I'm worried about this team in the playoffs, but my way of approaching it here, tell me what you think of this one. We're all high on this team. Coach of the year is usually most improved. Willie Green has that Monty Williams style. How about give me a 14-1 on Willie Green, Coach of the Year? What do you think of that one?
I like that too. I mean, to be honest with you, Spread, if everything breaks right for this team, I think you could see Coach of the Year, most improved, and maybe even some MVP votes go to this team.
All right, let's talk about a regular season team that I love. Another one, not sold on in the playoffs. But with the addition of Rudy Gobert, I expect the Minnesota Timberwolves to be a regular season juggernaut. You're getting rid of that. You know, I talked about earlier with Sabonis. We talked about it with Vukovic. Towns was the same way. The guy can't protect the rim. I can't have him at center. Cool. We're moving to power forward. We added the best shot blocker, the best rim defender in the NBA, and Rudy. This plays wonderfully for the regular season. I'm not talking about the playoffs because we all know the issues with the playoffs when they can actually scheme for them. But night after night, when you're just getting a quick page of notes, Rudy's going to be too much to handle. I expect my guy, Tyler, Anthony Edwards, to make another leap. You know, if you give a great interview, I absolutely love you. He's got that WWE interview style. I'm all in on the Timberwolves to have a great record this year. What do you think, Tyler?
I'm with you. I think they win 50-plus games. Their win total is one of my favorite bets at 48.5.
Yeah, 48. I love it.
I think this could be one of them teams, a top 3 seed in the West. and then they get knocked out in the first round.
Yep.
But
I wouldn't be surprised there.
you're
right?
leaning more towards
especially like against like a Portland.
Yeah,
right?
you're thinking more of the Anthony Edwards emerges here spread. The last time we seen Cat play with an actual center where he gets to drop down a spot and just focus on
Was that
scoring.
Kentucky?
No, they had Pekovic in there his rookie year, and he exploded for points. He was putting up 30 left and right.
That's good knowledge.
He's 150 to 1 to lead the league in scoring.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be tough, but if everything breaks right and how he's played when he's at that power forward spot and he's putting up 30 to 31 a game and they're just cruising in these games, he could be in contention at the end of the year. So I can see big things coming out of Cat this year more than Anthony Edwards because he's going to have to focus more on the defense with these wings because they traded a lot of their defense away to get Gobert. Mind you, he brings in the paint defense, but out on the perimeter, he's useless. So Edwards is going to have to work more out there. Is it just me too, or does D'Angelo Russell look like he put on like 30 pounds?
I haven't seen the
I haven't
pictures yet.
seen it.
Yeah, his face got really fat, so I don't really like
Not
that.
in a good way.
No, like it looks like he's getting. It's going to slow him down. He wasn't a fast guard as much as that before, and he can't play defense. So I'm going to keep an eye on this
He was incredibly
team.
effective last year, though. His plus minus for the season was ridiculous.
Yeah, but it slowed down towards the end of the year. Like at the beginning of the year, they were a defensive juggernaut, and then as the stretch went down, it's almost like he gassed out. And then playoffs, he was nowhere to be found. So I think they win 50 games. I think they're similar to the Bulls of last year, but they win more games. They get all the wins, lose in the first round.
What do you think, AP?
Yeah, I mean, they do have Austin Rivers that, from a playoff standpoint, defensive, obviously does nothing offensively, but I was just thinking about this team in the playoffs. When I look at this team, it's like Rudy Gobert, really? And it's kind of an interesting move. Now, if we think of the Timberwolves where they were a couple seasons ago, I think they're almost like dead last defensively. And then if you look at them last year, they made a huge improvement. They were 14th overall in defensive efficiency. Now you get Rudy Gobert and Anthony Edwards. He was a good defender last year. It's going to be interesting. Like I really want to see how teams attack kind of the bigs here. And it's going to be, can they switch? Can Towns do what he needs to do on the defensive end? Or is it just going to be Rudy Gobert kind of picking up all the slack and just trying to swat as many balls as he can? So I think offensively, they're going to put up a ton of points. I think they're going to be good defensively, and that combination right there does usually lead to a lot of regular season wins. So this is where it gets really difficult for me because I'm trying to pick my top six, and then I'm trying to pick my playing teams. And now is the time. Like I think the top two are very clear, maybe top three, and then it starts to get a little bit more difficult for me in some of these teams. So I have the Wolves. Maybe 6, maybe 7, right there. I'm kind of torn. I think that I think their team total at 48.5 is a good number. If they go over it, I think it's over by like a game and a half or two.
Kurt, your thoughts on the Timberwolves?
This is gonna be my last one. Then I gotta go talk some golf or finish my golf lineups and then talk college football. But as soon as the trade went down, I was like, man, they're going to be a great regular season team, and then they're going to probably get swept in the first round because you cannot run this too big lineup in the playoffs. You will get absolutely embarrassed. I mean, laughed at. If Rudy Gobert plays more than 20 minutes in the playoffs with this lineup, laughing stock. Terrible. But with that being said, yeah, they're probably going to win a lot of games. I love the over 48.5. Speaking of Pekovic, he's like one of the Russian mob now, or the Serbian mob. So
yeah, I see
shout
all
out
those
to him.
things.
But that's all I
All right,
got,
Kurt,
guys.
before you head out, I want to know, though, who do you have winning the West this year?
That's tough. I've not even thought about that. So who do you all have?
We're putting you on the spot now.
We haven't gotten to that yet.
Stream of consciousness. Who comes to mind? We won't hold you to it. We won't put any money on it.
Pick them, Kurt. You know you want to.
I know. I know. I feel like I want to pick them and the Lakers. But, God, Bron's so old, dude.
The Lakers?
Nah, I'm going Warriors. Easily.
Lakers best shooter. I can't wait till we get to the Lakers breakdown.
All right, Kurt, setting that up. Kurt, thank you for joining us. And, of course, Kurt.
Wait. Kurt, stay on for one more, and
Okay.
let's break down the Lakers. Is that next, or do we got to skip one?
Well, it's fine. We'll go straight to the Lakers. They're plus 750.
I got to hear.
You got to start
Kurt's
telling AP why you think the Lakers can win the West.
Well, no, I see. You put me on who I wanted to bet and pick, and I was like, well, I'm not going to take the favorite because that's never my style. So that's why I picked the Lakers.
I got
That's
you.
don't. So like from a team perspective, the roster looks absolutely horrendous. But I just don't like taking a favorite, so that's kind of why I spit that out.
Oh, all right. That wasn't as good.
All right, I got you.
But Kurt will be back with us for Talking Touchdowns. We moved that to 1 p.m. Eastern, but Kurt's going to be ready, tanned, jacked, ready to go. Kurt, thank you for joining us.
Appreciate it, guys.
Let us continue. We will be going to the Memphis Grizzlies at plus 900. Tyler, you said you think the Pelicans might do a little better. What are your concerns for the Grizzlies team this year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't trust Ja as much. I think he's reminds me a lot of Russell Westbrook. Like, he gets out there, he's injured a lot because he plays recklessly. Jaren Jackson's already out for a period of time to start this year. They traded Melton away. Like, this team just isn't as deep as they were. I also don't trust their other pieces. Bane, Brooks, Adams is still there. So it's like,
why do you not trust Bane and Brooks? They seem like they're pretty solid.
Brooks is instantly in foul trouble. Like, if Bane's threes aren't falling, like, he can't really get you to the rim and get you a bunch of points. So it's like, it's Ja or bust with this team. And Ja's jump shot.
But they won without Ja. Remember, they were like 21-4 without him?
Yeah, that's in the regular season spread.
We're talking about the regular season.
Yeah, but we're also talking down the stretch because we're getting to the point where it's like this team come playoff time. Like, yeah, they could be good in the regular season. But again, I think they fizzle out late. I don't think they have the roster that can win a championship. And I just think Ja's banged up too much in the year. And the dude's going to end up getting one of those injuries where instead of a sprained ankle out for 3 weeks, he's going to blow that Achilles out and be out for the rest of the year. And then the team's really going to miss him after a period in time.
Well, Tyler's not definitely. You're coming with the hot takes. We are not, the NFL, we kind of towed the line with the industry thinking. You're definitely going way off the radar here. And I absolutely love it. What do you think, AP? Tyler's high on the Pelicans, down on the Grizzlies. Are you as shocked as I am?
No, I mean, I'm shocked that me and Tyler are like locked arm in arm. I swear, we didn't talk before the show. I have the Grizzlies making the play-in tournament. So I got them finishing like 7, 8, 9, something like that. And the reasoning is very in line with what Tyler said. If Ja goes down, I think it's going to be a much bigger impact this go around. No DeAnthony Melton. I think that's a big loss. It's going to be Tyus Jones, who is a competent point guard for sure, can run the offense. But they are not as deep of a team as we saw last season. And Jaren Jackson is not going to be in the rotation until January. So you're talking like multiple months, almost 40 games projected to miss. So and Dylan Brooks, defensively, he's fine. Offensively, he's so overrated. This dude can't shoot. He's he puts up more clanks than it's crazy. Like he's a volume guy.
He won't stop shooting. That's the thing. Even when he's missing, he just lets them fly.
Who's better, Pat Bev or Dylan Brooks?
Pat Bev.
I would take Pat Bev just because he's fine coming off the bench. He's fine. Like Dylan Brooks has like an ego to him.
And Pat Bev also developed that corner three where he could just go in the corner and stand there and stay there and hit the three if we kick it to you.
Okay. See, hey, this show's great. We're doing pretty good here. Anything
else? It's a tough question. I'd probably
another loss that went under the radar for this team. They lost Slow-Mo, who might not be the best player in the NBA, but we talked about they lost Melton. If Ja goes down,
where'd he go? Because I love hearing Big T go. I am not going to play Kyle Anderson. He could be like $500.
He's on Minnesota,
and he wouldn't play him. You could be like $1 on DraftKings, and he wouldn't put him in.
He's on Minnesota spread.
I love their unders. Their regular season unders 48.5, and too bad. Like the bottom teams are so dusty because if they were better at all, any of these teams, I could take you could see this team missing the playoffs potentially. That might be a reach. That definitely might be a reach. But
originally it sounds like that, but then look at all these teams that are coming up. I mean, it's the idea that Portland passes them. Is that crazy? Pelicans are better. Timberwolves are better.
A jaw injury. Tyus Jones isn't the best ball handler coming off the bench. You have nobody else behind him with no Melton or Slow-Mo there to handle the ball. Now you're just stuck in this conundrum of we need a backup point guard if our guy goes down. So I think his team's in a little bit more trouble than people think.
Tyler, after this breakdown, you better not travel to Memphis anytime soon. Let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks, who are plus 900 as well. That was surprising me to me. The Grizzlies and the Mavericks there. at the same number. I like the Mavericks more, and I know that they lost Jalen Brunson, but what was he doing besides standing in the corner anyways? I mean, I thought it was good for him to leave. I mean, Luka did not – he still doesn't understand getting his teammates involved. It reminds me of Jordan when he was younger, from 83 to 89, where he dropped like 38 and no one would get things done. It took Phil Jackson to come in and explain to him, hey, take over in the fourth, but get your guys going for the first three, right? Control the game a little more. And I think the Luka will figure that out. Right now, they're a one-man show. And see, that's another one where the playoffs, will it be an issue? Will he wear out again? He played all summer again. Hasn't necessarily kept himself in the best shape. But for regular season, I don't see why this team's going to take that much of a drop-off losing Jalen Brunson. Do you agree, Tyler, or am I off base? Is this a big loss for this Mavericks team?
No, I don't think so. I also think him playing through the summer actually helps him because we've seen the last few years he comes in out of shape. It takes him
But he played through the summer before and he was still out of shape.
Yeah,
he gained weight faster than me.
Yeah, hopefully this year is a little different. He gets a little better on the diet side and he just doesn't come in out of shape. The Christian Wood pickup, they're going to use him as the sixth man, I'm reading. They're going to start JaVale McGee, which I think works out good because now you get a ton of points off the bench unit. He should be able to beat up the bench unit for other teams.
So let me ask you about Christian Wood real quick. He didn't seem too excited about that, and he's been a guy that's checked out before. Are you worried, or do you think Jason Kidd can navigate this?
I think Jason Kidd could get him on the same page.
Okay.
I mean, I also don't think it's your normal six-man role because JaVale's not playing 30 minutes a game. Like, Christian Wood's going to play six-man but play 32 minutes a game. Like, he's basically going to be the starter, but he sees the second unit first.
Will he close?
In the regular season, probably. Come playoffs, no. Because the man can't defend anyone. So, playoff time, you probably get some JaVale closing lines. I'm not going to back this team much in the playoffs because I think it's going to be a lot of what you've seen last year, where it's cross your fingers, and if the threes are falling, this team's going to win the game. The moment they go cold, they're going to lose. So, they're going to live and die by the three still. Would be able to beat up some bench units, but I'm going to fade them come playoff time.
Man, Tyler, can't travel to Memphis, can't visit glaucoma. Man, I wonder where it's going to be like by the end of this breakdown. AP, what are your thoughts here on the Mavericks? I don't think that Brunson is as big a loss as the rest of the NBA media is making it. Do you agree, or do you think I'm missing something?
So, and hopefully Glock is watching this because I love what this team is doing. I think it's really interesting. JaVale McGee is a 20 to 22 minute, per night player. He's not going to play heavy minutes. I think Christian Wood buys into this. I think it makes their second unit stronger there with Dinwiddie. We know Christian Wood is going to play more than JaVale McGee. And he's going to have a higher usage rate too, because he's going to be on the court when Luka Doncic is off the court. So it's going to the ball is going to be in his hands more. He's going to be able to hit some threes and do the thing that he's accustomed to doing. And then I think with him and Dinwiddie, if they can really mesh in that second unit, they're going to be a tough team. Josh Green, a guy that can hit threes. Reggie Bullock, defender, hit threes. Dorian Finney-Smith, elite defender, can hit threes. That's what you need to build around Luka. And then you have JaVale McGee, who can just, jump up there and, slam it in. And then he can defend too. He's long. This team's tough. I really like what they did. I think it's kind of sneaky. I think I got them as a top team, top three. I mean, this is where it gets really tough. I like what we're going to get to the Nuggets and obviously the Warriors and Clippers. I think it gets really tough for me to position these teams, as far as like end of the year season rankings.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they're only 3 or 4 games apart, right? And rather than a basketball analysis, it might just come down to who stays healthy. That's how stacked this West is.
Last thing. So Luka. All right. So if we go off of, I'm looking at fantasy points per minute. Jokic was the highest, 1.78 average on the season, which is just insane. Luka was 1.56, but that factors in Porzingis there. That factors in Brunson when he was there too. This is the Luka show now. I think Luka's going to put up big numbers each and every night. It looks like he's in shape, ready to go. I think he's ready to really make his case for MVP this year.
Yeah, and I want to be against a Luka MVP bet. This NBA Western Conference breakdown is brought to you by RunPure Sports. Guys, give us a thumbs up if you're not subscribed. My guess is you are, but if you're not, make sure you hit that bell, get notified whenever we go live. And, of course, if you're not a member and you want to get in on the winning, head on over to runpuresports.com. We would go over how much everybody's been winning, but the show's pretty long already. I'm sure you guys know the deal if you've been watching any of the content. The Lakers were plus 750. Kurt didn't really have a good reason to pick them other than to be contrarian. And I would agree that there's not that good a reason to pick them. Tyler, when you're looking at their postseason chances, I don't like the supporting cast around Anthony Davis and LeBron James, but I think this is a tricky regular season team. There's still a chance they're going to have the best two players on the floor in a lot of these regular season games. I like to fade the Lakers. I like to hate the Lakers. I'm a little worried I might not be able to do it as much this year. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, there's going to be a chance they got the best two players on the floor in a lot of playoff games too, Spread, especially if they stay healthy, which is going to be hard. LeBron's getting old. AD still made of glass.
Well, first of all, let's not say LeBron. I mean, the guy hasn't got hurt. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's just age at this point with him, though. Like, is he finally going to catch up?
But is he aging? I mean, he's like NBA Tom Brady.
I mean, yeah, Brady's starting to not crack this year, but he doesn't
Brady's
look the
45.
same.
We might have 7 more years of this.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the rest of the team, like outside, I don't like the Russell Westbrook. They picked
Nobody
up
does.
They have Schroeder there now to run the second unit a little bit, so that helps them a bit. I still think they make the Indiana trade. Picking up Thomas Bryant to play the 5 next to AD, I think helps. But that just puts 2 guys that want to stand on the 3 line as big men, which isn't going to help you rebound the ball much. And then Juan Toscano-Anderson probably doesn't see many minutes. Lonnie Walker doesn't. Pat Bev's going to look good in this team because he probably gets some starts and plays in that little corner role of just playing defense, sitting in the corner and shooting threes. But, I mean, regular season, they'll probably win around like 45 to 53 games.
You don't think Lonnie Walker has an impact on this team?
I think he's more like I think he's a bench guy, but I think it's going to take an injury first for him to see like a nice usage piece there. Like maybe you catch some spurts when a guy sits a game, but I don't think he does much when they're full go. And
what are your thoughts? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but once playoffs roll around, I mean, if this team's healthy, Spread, those 2 on the floor, you can never count them out. So it's like it's just a wait and see with this team, I think.
All right. What do you think, AP?
So, yeah, it's kind of a, 2 different stories for me. I sent a screenshot to Captain this morning. Obviously, he's a huge Lakers fan. Just screenshotting the moves that they made. And I sent the eye emojis, like really interested. The more I thought about it, man, they got no shooters. What do you need around LeBron? You need shooting. And it's like they've gone the other direction. Like your best 3-point shooters are Dennis Schroeder and Kendrick Nunn. and you're looking at a small sample size for Kendrick Nunn. So if they don't play good defense, and I know LeBron, all the quotes like that, we got to play better defense. They ranked 21st in defensive efficiency last year. Obviously, that number would be different if AD was healthy in there. Obviously, a very good defender, but he never stays healthy. He never does. And so, it's going to come down to defense. They were second in pace last year. If they keep pushing the pace like they did last season, I don't think that's good for them. I think they need to play boring basketball, slow it down, play in the half court, get other teams to fall into that trap, play into the half court, and that's going to be how they survive. And then it's like, man, look at all the new pieces. Lonnie Walker, Thomas Bryant, JTA, Dennis Schroeder. I mean, there's chemistry there. He played for them, obviously. Pat Bev, Damian Jones. That's a lot of new pieces on this team. So it seems like what they're doing is they're just grabbing some spaghetti, throwing it against the wall, and seeing what sticks. Maybe it sticks because they do have LeBron James. Dude is incredible. Dude's amazing. Maybe he finds a way to get Anthony Davis remotivated. If he can do all of that, maybe he finds a way to get Russell Westbrook somehow integrated into it. Yeah, I don't know what it is at all. Maybe. I'll say maybe, but God, I got them as a playing team again this year. I got them on the outside looking in. So
I think they're the highest variant in results. I think they could be the 1 or 2 seed and they can miss the playoffs.
Who's got a better chance in the end to finally grab that chip? Them or the Nets?
The Nets.
I think it's the other way around.
Really? How come?
Yes.
It comes down to defense, and it comes down to staying healthy.
If AD's healthy, you look around the West, there's no real team that can match up with him, and if he's the deciding factor,
you don't think the Clippers can match up with them?
No, they don't have a big man to stop him.
Think about the team they had when they won in the bubble. One, it was a different, it was so different. But they had Kuzma, they had some offensive
They had
pieces.
Kuzma, they had KCP, they had so many good defenders.
Like now, look at it. You got Kendrick Nunn, you got Pat Bev, Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves. Like he's not going to play much. Like
I think he will though. Reeves is going to be their little
they
Caruso,
love this Reeves,
and they're going to love him too. We're going to get so much Reeves hype all over the timeline.
He's the new THC.
So then how are they going to win the championship with Austin Reeves in there?
He plays like Caruso. All he's going to do is
he just shoots threes and play defense.
Play defense, get blocks, get steals. I actually think Reeves is actually a pretty good player. He's one of the few guys I think if they do make some moves here, I think he would still be in
theoretically, Lonnie Walker would take his role. That's kind of my coming out of the Spurs system.
From what I've seen in preseason, I think Reeves has that lock.
Okay, gotcha.
It's like theoretically, you look at the teams in front of him. Like say Kawhi isn't what he used to be. The Clippers are just a bunch of old guys that are load managing. They're not really in the way. The Warriors already have drama. They somehow blow this up mid-season. Or it just goes down, or this just builds as the season goes on, and they just can't do anything much. Denver's Denver because they've just been the same team for 4 years. And
how's their schedule? Is their schedule easy?
It's got to be pretty easy when you miss the playoffs,
Lakers
right?
is pretty easy. Yeah, that's true. They have an easier schedule. Yeah.
So I mean, if things break right, this team could easily fall into the finals. Mind you, they might not win it. They might get thrashed by whoever comes out of the East, but they could navigate their way through the West.
Interesting. All right, you guys are high on the Lakers. I'm disappointed in that because I'll be rooting against them.
I mean, out of the gate, though, they got to play Golden State, Clippers, Blazers, Nuggets, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Pelicans. Wow. Their first easy game is the Jazz. I mean, they're going to be getting all the media is going to be going crazy when they start out like what 2-6.
But if they get wins in those, I mean, it's going to be crazy, and the Lakers fans are going to be out in force, and we're going to see a bunch of fake trades. You know,
I think down the stretch
I still don't think you could take that Indiana trade off the table either. The Buddy Hield, Miles Turner to LA. I think that eventually happens this year.
I hope you're wrong because that would make that team a lot better. The Denver Nuggets are plus 750, Tyler. Another team, they're going to be good if they stay healthy. But who do you think will play more games this year, Michael Porter or Anthony Davis?
Anthony Davis.
I mean, so you're that down on Porter?
Yeah.
Because they gave him a big contract. And if he doesn't play, I mean, even if Murray's good, they can get things done. I worry about their ability to compete. Seems like they're just going to keep winning these regular season games, though. I kind of like their regular season over, but I'm worried about the playoffs. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you look at their regular seasons the last few years, they went 46 wins, 47 wins, 48 wins. And it's like the team's just kind of hung around the same build as they've been for the last few years. They moved out Will Barton, Forbes, JaMychal Green, Monte Morris, and Rivers. Brought in Bruce Brown, which I think was their best pickup of the offseason, DeAndre Jordan, KCP, and Ish Smith. So they're pretty
love that Bruce Brown addition.
Outside of the Bruce Brown addition, they basically just swapped the same guys.
I think KCP is better than Will Barton, too.
I mean, Will Barton's got younger legs. It's kind of the same player.
I like KCP more.
Yeah.
I understand your point.
I think it's pinching pennies there. So it's like, this team's still the same to me. Jokic is going to put up his stats. Can't really play much defense. They'll be a top 4 to 5 seed in the West, but then come the second round, they're getting knocked out by one of the powerhouses. So that's where I stand. Maybe they get into the 50 wins with the healthier roster, but they're not a championship contender at all, I don't think.
AP, how do we approach this team if everybody's healthy? I mean, is that going to take away from Jokic's monster usage?
We're starting to disagree because when I look at this team, and I'm not a preseason guy, but I did have my eye on Michael Porter Jr. I just wanted to see how he was looking. In these last couple games, he's looked good. He's talked a lot in the offseason about getting healthy and the things that he has to do to stay right and stay committed to. And so from a verbiage standpoint, I do like what I'm hearing out of him. That's the key. Like you got Jamal Murray, you pick up KCP, a very, very obviously very elite perimeter guy. You got Michael Porter now, a guy that can take over a game. You have Aaron Gordon, who he committed to. He knows the role that he has to play. It's the Jeremy Grant role from a few years ago, but better defensively, in my opinion. And then you have Jokic, MVP. And then, all right, so I think, too, you got Bruce Brown, helps to make the bench better. Bones Highland, who was their second leading usage guy last season, now he gets another year. He should take a step forward. You have a veteran in Jeff Green. I like Ish Smith too, can help to run that second unit. Now you can also move some pieces. You can, sub Michael Porter Jr. out early, bring him back in. You have more offense in that second unit. You could do the same with Jamal Murray. If this team stays healthy, they look really strong. Those starting five, I think, looks really strong. And then I like the cast they have with mainly like Bruce Brown. We've seen him, what he can do defensively. And so when they're in the playoffs, when you're playing a team like the Warriors, which you got to assume that you'd be matched up on, that's why you bring in a guy like Bruce Brown. You got all these small guards you got to chase around the court. Curry, you throw Bruce Brown on him, throw KCP on him. I think they've done a lot of really nice things to improve and to set the stage to make a run here in the West.
Hey, that will be a lot of excitement. So we'll see where this goes. And on Friday, we can kind of check in when you jump on the NBA Rundown, brought to you by RunPureSports.com. If you're not a member, head on over RunPure Sports. Check out everything we have to offer. And while I'm throwing out some promos, give us that like, give us the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We have 3 teams left. Tyler, the Phoenix Suns are down to plus 500 to win the West. I mean, I'm just going to start with this question. Who has more turmoil around their team, the Suns or the Warriors?
I think it's got to be the Suns, and I love this team.
Isn't it bad where the team you're
like,
worse than the guy that knocked out one of your star players?
Yeah, it's like I love this team for the past few years spread. I tried to get on them the last few years to win it, but I ain't touching this team with a 20-foot pole this year. I mean, the center's not talking to the coach. CP3's just, they figured him out last year. You just got to run him into the ground. He can't do anything because he's getting old. He's not going to want to load manage this year, and that's what he's got to do if he wants to be effective in the playoffs. Booker can't beat a double team, so it's like there's the blueprint to beat this team out there. Mind you, they could still be a good regular season team and win some games, but until they show me that they're a full team unit and they're not at each other's necks, like the way it's looking going into it, I'm not betting on this team whatsoever.
AP, Aiden's here so he won't get fined, and Jay Kreider wants out. What do you think of the Suns?
Yeah, I mean, not good. I would be under on their team projected wins.
The only thing is they moved it down 11. They won 64 last year, sitting at 53.5
Did they?
right now. So I feel like the books have made a fair adjustment.
Yeah,
11 games is a lot.
Look at the West, though. There's a lot more competition out here in the West. So I would have to look into their schedule a little bit deeper, but I still kind of stand by that. I got them obviously making the playoffs, but I have them behind, maybe potentially behind like the Pelicans and stuff that we talked about. Definitely behind the Mavericks and Nuggets. So I got them as like the 6th seed, maybe just sliding in 5th, 6th. So yeah, it's if they could somehow build, get the chemistry back going, then they'll be fine. Cam Johnson was good last year. Mikal Bridges, good defender, can hit shots. And then, it comes down to Ayton, and then Chris Paul, just the leadership too, like obviously a good leader. But, man, I am kind of with you guys. I would rather bet against this team just with everything going on.
Suns in 4 seems like 20 years ago. Los Angeles Clippers are only plus 350. Tyler, we talked about other teams not being able to stay healthy. I don't understand why everybody's picking the Clippers here. What have we seen from Kawhi Leonard, who has a diagnosed degenerative knee condition, to get us to think that he's going to stay healthy again? That's my only thing around this Clippers. Other than that, on basketball, like if you turned on 2K and you turn injuries off, they're your champions. But I just worry about this team staying healthy, like you worry about some of these other teams. Like you think that John Morant's not going to make it to the season. I mean, I'd be really surprised if Kawhi did. Am I wrong here? Am I off base? Am I being a hater? What do you think?
No, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but this team's like 14 guys deep spread. Like, if there's a team if there's a team that can,
11th man.
If there's a team that could just go here, sit 30 games, like load manage till the playoffs, and then we'll get you in there. Like, this is the team. And this team also isn't full of many young guys spread. Like, you look around that roster, a lot of these guys already got their money. A lot of these guys know what they are as a player. Like, the only guy that really hasn't seen money and probably like wants more minutes to show he needs it to get a big contract would be Terrence Mann. Every other guy on this team
already get paid?
Yes. Every other guy on this team has one thing on their mind: championship. So if these guys put it together and they're healthy, I think that's why they're so low in the odds.
Can they contend for championship without Leonard?
Yes. With how deep they are, and if Paul George is healthy, I think they can. They have the best coach in the West. I believe that Ty Lue is the best one. So if you get into these matchups with, say, Denver and a Mike Malone, we've seen Malone make some questionable decisions late. Ty Lue will run circles around him in a series. So, and they also have the way their team's built spread is like, say, for instance, they play Golden State. They have the bodies that can chase around these guards on the perimeter defense, and Golden State can't beat them up on the inside. So it's like they play well to the teams in the West. If they're fully healthy, they're going to be the top tier team, and I think they take down the West.
Talk to me, AP. What do you think of the Clippers?
Yeah, I mean, top to bottom, this team's pretty complete. And then, you got Ty Lue, former Nebraska player. Obviously a GOAT coach. Man, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, if Leonard stays healthy. You got Norman Powell, nice. He looked good last year. Reggie Jackson was good. They got John Wall in there. Like, I mean, he probably won't do much, but
I'm surprised people are so high on the John Wall acquisition.
I think
watch him in Houston?
I think he's still a good distributor, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's still so fast." It's like, well, an Achilles like popping on you and everything else that he dealt with in the last few years, that burst isn't going to be there. But I mean, if he's just out there running like a Rondo role and just dishing the passes, his vision's still going to be there as a passer. So I think he still racks up the assist.
Yeah. All right. What else?
Yeah. So I mean, it's hard not like, Paul George is really kind of taking his game too. Like we saw it, like he could carry this team with the pieces around him. So now if Kawhi is healthy, that's going to be key. If so, they're going to be tough, really tough. So it's going to come I think they're going to be a frustrating team from a DFS standpoint. You're going to get a lot of rest situations, keep these guys healthy. The goal is going to be to manage things through the regular season, get this team healthy and fully to the playoffs. I think that's their goal. And if they can do that, then they're going to be a real threat to win it all here in the West.
All right. Last but not least, the team that really loves playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out. And of course, that's the Golden State Warriors, who are plus 250 to win the West. Tyler, everyone knows about this team. They won the championship last year. If you follow the NBA, you know about this team. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room. How much does this Draymond Green thing affect the team? Do you think they can get past it? I think my era, guys, it would be okay. I don't know with these new things. And also, it's not happening in-house. The fact that it got distributed, it has to hurt. The guy only got $150K for it too. I would think you get like $500K for that video. Regardless, what were your thoughts on Draymond, and how does this affect your outlook for the Warriors season?
Well, I mean, winning cures everything, right? Spread. So if they hit the ground running and they're just winning a ton of games,
doesn't for Jimmy G.
Yeah, well, I mean,
all right, we'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, but you get back to the Warriors, like when they win games, these guys aren't going to talk about that. But if this team starts to have a sputter, like that's going to be a big talk. They're like, are these guys in the locker room? Are they having problems? But when you look at their roster overall, you can argue that they got better from last year.
They definitely did, because Wiseman looks good.
Yeah, they get Wiseman back. The other two rookies, Moody and Kuminga, are going to step up better. Even though they lost Gary Payton and Otto Porter Jr., you brought in Dante DiVincenzo and JaMychal Green. You also drafted Patrick Baldwin, who is a top 10 recruit coming out of high school, decided to go play for his dad's college, a smaller college.
Oh, yeah,
his draft stock slipped a ton, and the Warriors snagged him. He's about 6'8".
I remember you talking about him in high school.
Yeah, he's just a tall wing that can just stroke threes. The perfect guy for the Warriors to sit on the bench and just hide. So there's another guy they stashed. He's going to end up being pretty good. But when I look at this team, like, how many more miles can Steph and Clay run because you figure their offense, they have to run a lot to get these plays to go. Like eventually, like the shooting will always be there, but when you can't get the separation off these screens because these guys are quicker than you now, that's when this offense is going to slowly start to stall out. Draymond being frustrated too, like they're still going to be around for championship contention, but I don't think they get there this year. And I think some things slow them down and one of these younger teams gets them.
All right. Tyler's not high on the Warriors. What do you think of Draymond, his podcast, and his punches? What do you think there, AP?
I mean, I'm surprised that guy only got 150K. Like when I saw that video, I did not think it would be like that bad. Like when you're talking like getting a fight in practice, it looked like he knocked him out cold.
Yeah, he knocked him out. There's no doubt his legs went.
And then, I mean, a few things. His apology I thought was good. I thought it was very genuine. He talked about his family, like his, mom saw how to see that video. His dad, like And I thought it was a really real and genuine apology. But, Spread, you bring up a good point. Like, back in the day, that would have made it could have made a team stronger. Not really the case, it seems like, anymore. So I think it's going to be, can Jordan Poole now, like the ball's in his court. And, I'd be pissed if I was him. But, if they can get things going, that's going to be good. The thing about Jordan Poole was elite during the regular season. He was phenomenal. Playoffs, he struggled. He really struggled. Yeah. Curry carried this team until Clay got hot. But, I mean, really, it was all like if Curry wasn't as incredible as he was, like down the stretch and in the playoffs, man, like it could have been a different story. So, and obviously Wiggins and stuff, and then the emergence now of Wiseman, if they can really unlock him and transition, keep Looney in his 20-minute role, now, incorporate Wiseman, be able to play a little bit bigger and still maintain some speed there and get more buckets in the paint, they're going to be tough to deal with, really tough to deal with. So it's hard not to have them inside your top three. But, man, I think from like a who wins it standpoint, I think it's a little more open than we think. Like, I think the Nuggets, if they stay healthy, are right there. The Mavericks are right there. I think even the Pelicans are there. Clippers obviously are there, and the Warriors. I'm down on the Suns, down on the Grizzlies, and the Wolves are going to be fine, but I don't see them doing much. And then you got the Lakers too, which, I mean, defensively, if they can put it together, maybe I'm a little bit under on them. The West is like really interesting. I think it's going to be fun to target in DFS. There's going to be a lot of good spots and a lot of spots that we just have to monitor early and often. And I think it's going to help to create a nice edge.
Yeah, I mean, and we're doing these previews now, and I think it can come down to like maybe 6 games between 2nd and 7th, right? I mean, it could just really be just jam-packed here in the West, and it could just come down to random stuff. Draymond gets suspended, right? One guy rolls his ankle right before the end of the season. One guy misses a month here. So this is really tough to handicap at this point. But what I think we're going to do great at, and I can't wait, is our ability to do it day by day as we're navigating all these moving pieces. You talked about it yesterday, AP, but let's let them know one more time about the benefits of being involved with the premium show if you're a member of RunPure Sports.
Yeah, so, obviously NBA is a daily sport. There are contests each and every day on DraftKings and FanDuel. We do up to lock shows. That's a premium content piece with JSU, Holden hosting that show. Big T's on it. I hop on. A lot of different people hop on that show. And we discuss, what we're doing with our lineups all the way up to lock. And one reason why that's important is we get late news all the time in NBA, and it's really important to dissect that, figure out where we're pivoting to, how to adjust, and we give you all that live on the spot while we're making our own lineups. So we have a playbook, heat maps, cash charts, core plays, NBA betting playbook, something we're working on developing that you two are gonna absolutely kill it with this year, and yeah, just tons and tons of content.
I mean, Big T's the showdown king, but I would say that nobody processes that information faster than JSU, right?
Yeah.
The news comes out, and he's already got the pivots, and the 2v2s are flying in the chat, and he's just pop, 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 and his success rate is just unbelievable. I'm so glad to be a part of the RunPure team, and you can too by heading over to runpuresports.com. AP, it's time. Who do you think wins the Western Conference?
Oh man! All right, so the like favorite pick is the Clippers, obviously, which you could see happening. I got to get a little bit different. The other pick would then be the Warriors. I mean, man, these teams have been positioning themselves to be in that spot for quite some time now. I'm between the Mavericks and the Nuggets. It's going to come down to, I give the edge to the Nuggets, but it's going to come down to them staying healthy. So I'm going to go with Luka Doncic. I'm going to go with the Mavericks. They are coming out of the West.
All right. AP took the Mavericks. What do you think, Tyler?
I'm getting on the back of that freight train in New Orleans, and CJ McCollum's going to drive it all the way to the finals. They're going to pound teams into the ground. Zion's going to play the whole season. He might win MVP. They're going to win it all, spread at 50-1. Give me the Pelicans.
All right. And my apologies to Kurt. I'll just go ahead and take the team that's light years ahead of everybody else. Tyler, you brought it up. As long as they keep this team together, I think they're better than last year. And they were good last year, and they can get the stops when it matters. Curry's probably got 2-3 more years of just being absolutely dominant. And I just trust this team to get it done. So since you guys went ahead and took some shots there, I feel a little safer being chalky here. Tyler, final thoughts on our NBA previews before we just get ready for game-by-game action.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did good. We'll go to some awards real quick. I mean, I like Giannis to win the MVP at 7-1.
Okay.
I wouldn't hate taking the long shot on Zion at 22-1, but I like him better for most improved. Mm-hmm. And then maybe even some Trae Young love at 35-1, because I think that Atlanta team could put up some numbers this year.
Even with DeJounte Murray, you're not worried about the usage dropping?
No, I think he still could be there. And then Rookie of the Year, I mean, you could take Paulo, but who wants to bet a 2-1 there? I like Jabari at 6-1. Maybe even sprinkling on Shaedon Sharpe at 18-1. He's going to play a lot for Portland. Most improved, give me Zion at 18-1 right now. The only other guy maybe taking a sprinkle on would be like a Jalen Green or a Cade Cunningham at 20 or 30-1. And then, I'll say other than that, 6-man and defensive player of the year, I think we could wait on those a little bit.
Okay, and yeah, we might be able to get those out on the NBA Rundown. Our next NBA show will be Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern on opening night. Guys, if you made it this far, you got to give us a thumbs up. We appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. AP, final thoughts before we log off.
Yeah, man. Next week, NBA's back. I'm excited. Yeah, we're all going to be ready. It's going to be good. If you are a member, I'm going to start posting it early this year. We do have rules in the hour leading up to lock, just to keep things organized. There, no spam, no GIFs, stuff like that. No stupid stuff, because it's all business up to lock with NBA, because there's so much information that's hitting, things that we need to process. And we're all just trying to do it to help you out. We want to be
7:30 Eastern. I can stop dropping gifts left and right, right?
We say we like to keep it like maybe like 8:39, 10.
8:39 is when I can start dropping. Okay, tennis players in there.
It's all night, So
all right, yeah, that's a great point, because you need to do the late adjustments. That's a great point.
Yep.
All right. Well, I do a great job in not tilting, and I'll follow the no GIF rule. Can't wait for that. Thank you guys for joining us.
Nice, Kevin. Yeah, Banhammer is going to be coming out.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. that might take you more time than doing the heat map. And AP was very humble, and he didn't plug one of my favorite tools, the NBA heat map. I like to use it before we start on the NBA Rundown. Of course, we're giving you an early look, but it just gives me a great visual of players I should be targeting, players I should be crossing off. Who's injured? Just take them out of the pool altogether. There's so many tools to help you become a better DFS player, a better, and more profitable over at runpuresports.com. That's it for us. Give us the thumbs up. We will be back Friday, Tyler, Kurt, and I, for some NFL. But then, of course, we can't wait. The first NBA Rundown, game by game of the season, will be next Tuesday at 2 p.m. as we go through the 2-game slate. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Run Pure.